For the last 40 years, the Conservatives have acted as the mouthpiece of a parasitic sociopath class, with the explicit stated agenda of impoverishing the workers, destroying our manufacturing base, ensuring that income inequality spikes in our country, while simultaneously not only ignoring the existence of climate change, but actually actively gaslighting the populace to pretend as though the phenomenon isn't happening at all. After 40 years of this boot on our back while telling us to stand up by our bootstraps, the Conservatives realize, oh, this is an incredibly unpopular thing to do. We continue losing elections. People are beginning to cotton on to the fact that we're mouthpieces for a sociopathic parasite class, that what we've been doing for the last 40 years is a transfer of wealth away from the working class into the hands of people who do no work, are not valuable, and should be excluded from our society. People are beginning to put together that organizations like Rogers, Telus, Bell should simply not exist, and we should nationalize these enterprises. People are starting to realize that capitalist enterprises are worthless, that they have parasites who have attached themselves to the side of them to drain away all productivity while simultaneously jamming all profits upwards. Just take a look at what happened at Activision recently, where the CEO of that company walks away with $200 million while they're laying off their workforce, right? How about take that $20 million, give it to your workforce, right? Keep everything moving and say, hey, you're a CEO. CEOs are inherently worthless. They do nothing. They're essentially mascots, right? And yet they get to walk away with this enormous lion's share of the profits. Capitalism is an absurd system that doesn't work, and their primary mouthpiece for the last 40 years has been the Conservative Party. So when Erin O'Toole has a speech during a Conservative Party convention, we should listen, because the Conservatives, they want to win these elections so that they can continue their abusive patterns, right? So that they can continue destroying the populace, so they can continue lying to us and propagating this transfer of wealth up into the upper 1%, 0.1% of the society, because they still believe in this trickle-down economics myth. So, what's the primary lie they're going to tell you? Let's have Erin O'Toole tell you right from his own mouth.
We need to be the party for all of Canada. We need to be a Conservative Party with the courage to be bold, and the Conservative Party with the courage to change.
Oh, hope and change. Hope and change. I've heard that before, right? Remember when Obama was standing in front of everybody saying, yeah, we need to change. Change. We need to hope and we need to change. Yep. So the Conservatives have glommed on to this absurd rhetoric and this absurd propaganda as if we didn't just experience this mass disillusionment under the Obama administration, as if we are just going to go, oh, well, the Conservatives say they want to change, right? This is the mantra of an abusive spouse, right? We've been getting beat up by our boyfriend for the last 40 years. And finally, when we're standing up and saying no more, we need to break up, they're going, no, baby, please, please, I'll change. I'll change. Well, excuse me if I'm a touch skeptical, Erin. Excuse me if I look at your party and go, yeah, that sounds like bullshit to me. So, let's actually take a look at what Erin O'Toole says through this speech and try and find any of this change he's talking about.
Ce n'est pas le temps de
It's not
réimaginer
the time
notre
to
économie.
reimagine our economy.
Who else is going to stop Mr. Trudeau's reimagining of the economy?
So right away, he gives up the game, right? Yeah, we need to change. What we're doing is not helping. We need to change. Don't need to reimagine the economy. Don't need to reimagine the economy, right? Don't need to reimagine. Don't need to change. Like, literally the one thing that people want to be doing right now is reimagine the economy. People are getting exhausted with this idea that, oh, I wake up and go to work for people I don't know every single day while I get paid a subsistence wage, and then I get told stories about how they get into gold airplanes to go to Jeffrey Epstein's island paradise so he can have sex with underage girls, right? that the leaders of our countries are actually in a pedophile sex ring, that all of the money that we've been handing over to them so that they can reinvest it in our society is actually being invested in the destruction of our society. Oh, fantastic. Yes, I would absolutely like to reimagine this economy, Aaron O'Toole. Yes, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about change. That's what we're talking about. But Aaron O'Toole's not actually interested in change, right? Aaron O'Toole's not actually interested in any of that. He's just interested in saying the old rhetoric and the old stuff. Things like this.
We will rebuild Main Street by assisting small businesses and providing incentives to invest, rebuild, and start new businesses.
The classic incentives to invest line, right? The classic, oh, we just need to incentivize the billionaires, right? How are they going to incentivize the billionaires, do you think? Are they going to plunge your wages downward? Are they going to cut services? Are they going to attack unions? Are they going to do everything they can to ensure that a small group of sociopaths might go, oh yeah, the slave labor that I'm using in India, you know, where I pay people 5 cents a day, it's far more appealing for me to do that than it is for me to, you know, pay people here in Canada according to a legal structure that has, and a labor movement that has actually fought for the last 100 years in order to get benefits for people. No. I don't need workers that have days off. I don't need workers that have health care. I don't need workers that have any of that. I need slaves, right? That's what Aaron O'Toole is saying when he's saying we need to incentivize investment.
Mental health is central to the wellness of families and communities, and we must take immediate action to treat it properly.
Aaron O'Toole pretending to care about your mental health while simultaneously supporting the very policies that are destroying your mental health is absolutely adorable. Yeah, go to work every single day for people you don't know. Plunge your entire life away, right? Sacrifice everything you've got for a group of people while they pay you basically nothing. Oh, but we're going to create a hotline so you can cry about it.
We can't pass unsustainable debt to our children and future generations.
Everything that these conservatives are saying tell us that they're going to sell us back to the billionaire class. That's the entire point, right? They're not interested in reimagining an economy. They're not interested in changing how things are. They're not interested in change. They're not interested in any of this. They are interested in getting back on track, right? They're interested in doubling down on failed policies like privatizing our entire society. They're interested in doubling down on the transfer of wealth upwards. They're not interested in any of this. And here's the most damning statement of all.
As Canadians are vaccinated and the economy reopens, we will wind down emergency support programs responsibly.
So here they are outright stating, right, the support systems that have been put in place because of the pandemic, they have no intention of maintaining. They have no intention of making permanent. They have no intention whatsoever of actually helping anybody with this. Their intention is to sell us back to the billionaire class, right? So goodbye CERB, goodbye CSB, goodbye any of these, right? And you can be absolutely certain that the conservatives are going to say, oh, things like the employment benefit increase, right? Things like, oh, healthcare cost increases, right? Oh, those were just for emergency, right? Oh, the national healthcare system, right? Oh, that was just for emergency. We can privatize these things. We can get rid of these things, right? Absolutely, we can do these things. They are interested in dismantling the civil society as they've been doing for the last 40 years, as they've been fighting for the last 40 years. They're not interested in helping anybody, right? They're interested in money for themselves and their owners. That's who they are. That's who they're gonna continue to be. Just like that abusive boyfriend we were talking about, it's time to dump these guys.
There's been a lot of speculation about what I'm going to say about climate change in this speech. To those who are expecting a dramatic moment, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed.
This is literally Aaron O'Toole's opportunity to present a plan for the environment, a climate change plan coming from conservatives to the rest of Canada, right? He's literally standing up in front of us saying things like this.
We all want a green future for our children. We cannot ignore the reality of climate change. The debate is over.
It's deeply, deeply concerning that one of the major parties here in Canada needs to stand up in front of its base and reaffirm that climate change is real. We know, Aaron, we know climate change is real. It's very weird that you guys are still saying climate change is real instead of saying this is what we're gonna do about climate change. It's very strange, it's very odd.
The answer is not Justin Trudeau's carbon tax on the poor, working families, and the little guy trying to make a go of it.
Oh, so you don't have a plan or ideas or thoughts about how to tackle this issue, right? You don't actually have anything that you're going to present to us. You don't have any concepts or thoughts, right? All you've got is empty rhetoric, right? That's what you've got. Oh, but sure as shooting, you got a plan to destroy what we've already built. Sure as shooting, you're going to take the ideas that have already been put on the table and get rid of those, right? Yeah, we're doing it. Change. Hey guys, sorry for the break-in here, but I was literally uploading this video and I ran across this article coming from the Conservative Policy Convention. They actually rejected adding climate change is real to their policy book, right? Somebody had put it forward. They literally rejected saying climate change is real. So their leader is telling them, hey, climate change is real, and they rejected it. This is a dangerous fringe group. They need to be abandoned. Back to your regularly scheduled programming.
We are the party of this country's founding and this country's future. Nous sommes le parti fondateur du Canada. Nous sommes aussi le
We are
parti de
also
l'avenir.
the party of future.
Notre parti a
Our
toujours
party
défendu la
has
dualité
always
sociale du
defended
pays.
the duality of
Cela
this
fait
country.
partie de notre
That is
histoire.
part
Cela fait
of
partie de notre
our
identité.
DNA, from our
sommes le
identity.
parti de
We,
Georges
the
Etienne
party
Cartier
of George Etienne Cartier
MacDonald.
and Johnny MacDonald.
The guy who stands up and says to us, we should change, right? Oh, hey, don't worry. I've been beating the crap out of you for the last 40 years, but I promise, baby, I'll change. I promise, baby. He stands up in front of us and says, hey, remember, the Conservative Party is the party of old white patriarchs who invaded this nation, destroyed the First Nations, took it over. This is something we should be proud of and hold on to. So much for the change, right? So much for the change. So much for looking forward. So much for looking into the future. So much for actually giving a crap about what our kids think. So much for actually giving a crap about what future generations have to deal with, right? So much of any of that. No, what we should be thinking about is old white men who invaded this continent and took it over, right? That's what we should be thinking about.
Prime Minister Trudeau did not show up for a vote recognizing a genocide against the Uyghur minority in China.
It's at this point that we should probably start talking about what the Conservatives aren't talking about, right? They have no problem whatsoever to mention a CIA psyops in the Uyghur genocide, an event that doesn't exist, that Australia has declared doesn't exist, Turkey has declared no Muslim nation. Nobody has actually gone along with this narrative except for the Western powers who are very interested in disrupting China. But the Conservatives have no interest whatsoever to actually talk about the Yemeni genocide that they sold weapons to, right? That they put money on the table to send weapons to Saudi Arabia, and then the Liberals followed through on that. Interesting that they're not talking about that, eh? So much for change, right? Sure, we can be Nazis on the world stage. Why not? We've been doing it all along anyway. We're conservatives, right? Also, hey, where's the mention whatsoever of the billionaire class, huh? There's billionaires in our society, right? This is a major issue, completely omitted from this speech. Doesn't count at all. It's time for us to start treating these conservatives for what they are. A dangerous extremist fringe group that's attempting to take over our country and destroy our citizenry, like they've been doing for the last 40 years. They don't work for us. When they try to placate or try to appeal to the unions, it's obviously a grift. It's obviously a lie. They just want your vote and they will stab you in the back like they have done for the last 40 years. We need to wise up and abandon these guys, because guess what? They've abandoned you, and they're gonna continue to abandon you because they don't care about you. They care about your votes and they care about your money, right? It's time to break up with the Conservative Party. Aaron O'Toole is right about one thing. We need change. And the first step of change is getting rid of the people in your lives who are obviously holding you back. So, you ask me, buy conservatives. Guys, if you've made it to this point, you gotta subscribe. Those are the rules. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. Please subscribe, please like the video, please share it. We have dangerous extremist groups in our society that are actively gaslighting you, that are actively attempting to pretend as though the issue is you instead of them, right? It's time to break up with these guys. It's time to get rid of them, and we know that's true. And the way to do that is to support people like me who are actually calling sociopaths, and join independent third-party political organizations. Socialist Action's in the link below. That's the group I've chosen. We need to be anti-capitalist at the very bare minimum, right? Oh, guys. I feel like I'm climbing a giant hill, both literally and figuratively. But I know one thing. You're doing great out there. I know that's the truth. You're put on this earth, you're not put on this earth to enrich billionaires. You're not put on this earth to make people you've never met a bunch of money while they abandon you to frauds and con men like Aaron O'Toole, right? You're put on this earth for a reason that's greater than you can possibly imagine, or that I could possibly imagine. You're doing wonderful. You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing. Proceed with love. Good luck. We're gonna need it.